years, that thing gets like 3 times larger. Seriously? Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing with your life? Why? This is what you did with your life? This is what you do. It's fine. You know what? You don't seem like you're fully yourself, but it's the psychiatrists. I really think they're doing something. They're really. Wow.
Like my profession as a
Wow.
therapist, it's how I make my living. It's how I make my living. But I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that it's a pseudoscience. I agree with you. I wish I studied something like engineering or science or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
useful.
Something
I could actually.
useful. But let me ask you this then, just because I want to play devil's advocate, because I'm a therapist. I like to play
Okay.
devil's advocate.
Because they
Um,
do like to. Yeah, you guys do like to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's mainly because I I listen to people's problems and they tell me it always stems from you know. Let's start from the beginning, basically, if you don't mind me going on a rant here real quick. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I I studied this because I thought it was the easiest thing to study because I'm retarded and I'm lazy, so I just went. So I did psychology. I studied psychology in college, and I managed to get some kind of position as a therapist. Now the thing is, I
It is sad.
understand. I know. It is sad. I agree.
Oh, okay.
I agree. It's sad, but I mean, I gotta put food on the table. I gotta do something. I'm not gonna work at McDonald's.
Fair enough.
But the thing is,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah. Now the thing is, with the thing, I understand. Like the DSM is our Bible. We gotta go off the DSM, and the DSM is always changing. It's not very consistent, and so it's really
Yeah.
wishy-washy. 1 minute.
And God
Yes.
forbid you update your knowledge with the latest knowledge about one of the biggest things that exists.
Exactly. I mean, that's not even.
Anything like God forbid you guys update your knowledge. Like you're all doing you all have information based on what we thought was going on 35 years ago for most diagnoses.
Yeah, I agree. Like back in 1974, homosexuality was considered a mental disorder, and then after that they changed it and made it like a normal thing to be a homosexual. And
Well, I
so,
think most psychiatrists, have updated their information on that particular thing. But when you get to a lot of others, like autism, for example, they are still, most of them are not up to date on the latest findings and information to do with that. And what they think is autism is what we knew about autism 35 years ago in boys who had level 2 or higher.
mhm.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But here's the thing though. Oh boy, you're opening up a can of worms. I got so many thoughts on this too. Just um, essentially, with all these autism and homosexuals and faggots and trannies and whatever, it's all you
This
know,
was really good role play till then. I don't know if it's,
it's it's
I don't
all
know if they would say that.
you know. I'm a psychotherapist in my mid 50s, so I'm going through my own existential crisis. After a certain point, I just want to cuss and curse sometimes too. So I can't. But
It's
here's
very therapeutic.
it's very therapeutic. It's therapeutic. Oh, did we hit? I think I hit an epiphany. Are we really? Are we really just professional emotional punching bags? Essentially, we're just people that get paid to listen to other people's bullshit to make them feel better,
And
basically.
if that were the case, that would be fine because if it were laid on the table as such, that's fine by me. It's like the hubris of these really egotistical ones that think they're doing something better than that. They think it's a real science and that they're really smart because they can read a diagnosis out of a book and
Mhm.
just like throw it at you
Yeah,
or not based on their own assumptions. Just like their own opinion and like if they had lunch that day or whatever.
yeah. I mean,
So
these same psychiatrists that are acting like they're like God's gift to Long Island, they they, they
perfect.
basically, they basically, these same people are talking about, oh, you were so bad, I gotta help you. You were molested when you were a kid. Oh, that's so wrong. Those same people, when they get off work, they log in a Second Life and they start age playing on
And
here.
laugh and like making jokes about, yeah, they usually make jokes about pedophilia and all that
Exactly,
stuff.
they are the pedophiles on here, and then they go back to their work the next day acting like, oh my God, oh the children, we gotta save the children. It's like a little retardation. They're all. I agree. We're all hypocritical little bitches and
Yeah, I
fags.
used to go to these Skype calls that were just like the most toxic, evil shit. And there was this dude who worked at this like downtown drop-in center for like homeless and like trans youth and all the stuff. Like you're supposed to be a good person if you work there. And he was literally on there like calling.
Yeah, all these. Yeah.
And I, I was like, what the fuck, man?
Well, here's a question for you then. Even though it seems like we're on the same page, my question for you is,
Okay, yeah, yeah. Devil advocate.
my question for you is like, is it better for disabled, retarded drug addicts and alcoholics with permanent brain damage to log into Second Life and try to like give each other professional input and advice on how to deal with their brain damage? Or is it a better idea for them to go to like someone who actually has some, how do you get real help then? Because the way that some
I
of
don't
these
think
people,
there is.
I mean, with the way that some people are doing it, they're like asking other retards for help on here when it's like the
It's
blind
the
leading the
blind leading
blind. Exactly,
blind.
it's the blind leading the blind. And so,
Well, I
if
don't
I,
think it's an either or. There's got to be like a third option, and
there
maybe
has to
even a
be.
fourth, fifth, sixth, and
I agree.
seventh.
I agree with you,
Either,
Matt.
and it also depends on the person. You could have a therapist that's good. You could also have a drunk idiot on Second Life who gives good advice.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, if I had to pick Ashley Payne between telling someone to ask other retards on here for help versus going to like a psychotherapist that thinks he's God's gift to Long Island, I'd probably tell him to go to the guy who thinks he's God's gift to Long
I don't
Island.
think so. I got more therapy out of this
That's
role play than I ever
expensive.
did from
These retards are telling each other, hey, YOLO, just get some to relax yourself, go do some Adderall and meth, and then stick yourself with a heroin needle to calm yourself down, and that'll. I don't know about that.
Heroin is not a good idea.
How do you do it? What's the third, fourth, fifth option then? Because this is a real issue, Ashley Payne. Some of these
What
people.
about personal like life coaches and like meditation? What about picking up Buddhism, something like that? Something that's actually going to make positive life changes in your life from people who I probably genuinely want to help because they're not making a lot of money off of it. So there would be no reason to teach it to you unless they were helping. Yeah.
You know what I said recently,
Like
Matt?
that.
You know what I said recently, Ashley Payne? I felt so bad for some of the retards on here, that I was like, you know what? Instead of fighting them, let me just like I'll pay money out of my pocket to help the first three people that approach me with like in genuine seriousness that they want to go get professional help from like people with like PhDs and stuff and like psychotherapy and all this kind of stuff, like certified people. I told them,
Serious.
yeah,
I would totally.
I seriously would have paid money out of my pocket. I told them this, and nobody approached me.
Really? Because I would.
You know.
And I probably, I don't know. I don't know if
But
I'm
here's the
making
thing, Ashley. If you said that you would,
passion.
you said that if you say that you would, but earlier you said that you think it's all a joke. So why would you? Why
I
would
do
you?
think it's all a joke. Psychiatry, not necessarily psychology. I think psychologists are often pretty decent people. I spoke to a couple. Well, I spoke to one like the other day, who was busy and couldn't take me on, but just in my brief conversation with her, I could tell this was a critical thinking human being with compassion, and that's nice. But my few experiences with psychiatry went extremely poorly. These are really like ignorant, pompous cunt holes who I'd like
That
to
have
punch
the
in.
power from medicine
Can
to
you
give
tell?
you
Yeah, I had
medicine.
had a recent experience that was mind-boggling.
Before you tell us further, can you clarify the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist?
I
They
probably
can give you
can't.
medicine.
They are not the same, but how to define that difference, I am not 100% sure.
Isn't it the psychologist just talks to you and the psychiatrist can actually like prescribe you medication that you don't even need?
Yes.
And that sort of thing. Yeah, like psychologists aren't taken, of course, because they're the good one. They're not taken very seriously, I think, which is crazy because they go to school for an incredibly long amount of time. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like anything, it depends on the
They
person.
actually get their doctorate, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This isn't some like fly by night like TV
Like I watch
advert.
like I watch
Like
YouTube
no,
videos for 3 hours and suddenly I think I'm an expert on psychology or something, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
saw
the
me,
thing is,
Genevieve.
but not in 3 hours. Oh, God, of view. Not in 3 hours, but I think if you took time and learned the same things, yeah, I don't know if there would be a vast difference between the two. But anyway, they put in their time. They have their
Yeah.
certificate.
So a psychologist is basically someone who has the ability to prescribe you medication and get you addicted to shit that you don't even really need to put in your system,
No,
probably.
I don't
Psychiatrist that
psychiatrists do
does
that.
medicine.
I don't like them, and they do always try to throw meds at you.
Yeah.
Which useful.
Uh, Mine tried to get me like hooked on meth.
These people are crazy. I don't.
During it,
Yeah.
because they gave me the ADHD thing too, and I was like, well, I don't really want to touch those drugs. It's meth. But now I don't know. I could lose weight, be thin. Maybe like I could actually think straight. Maybe it
I
does
didn't
help.
know. I didn't know it was a controlled substance until I was in high school.
It's one molecule away from actual street meth. I mean, it has the same effect on you. Of course, they just give it to kids. Oh my god.
I'm so
Anyway,
fascinated, Ashley Payne, that you've actually taken the time to like research all this stuff that you're able to talk about it like this. I mean, up to this point like this. Has something happened in your life that made you want to like look into this like this?
oh, just a lifetime of being thrown into the system and told this is really helpful, and like it's not at all. And worse, it's actually harmful in a lot of ways, and it's bothering me
Well,
that exists
well, see,
because
the
it
the,
does.
the thing with me is, secretly, I'm not a psychologist. Secretly, I have multiple.
It's a real good
I,
secret.
I'm
Like, hey,
actually.
your voice sounds kind of like a therapist.
Secretly, I actually have multiple degrees in the hard sciences. I got my engineering degrees, I got my physics
Okay.
degrees. I do rocket
That's
science
hot.
stuff.
That's real science. That's
That
actual.
is
You have to
real
be
science.
smart to do that. You don't
Yeah,
have to be fucking smart to just like memorize a few tests, get your fucking PhD, and be like, I'm a psychiatrist now.
yeah.
You have to. Fuck.
I've literally designed rocket propulsion systems, bridges, buildings, structures, electronic program things. Oh my god, all over the place. I have like licenses and certifications, and I have years of experience in the field. I got all kinds of good
I'm
reputation.
actually disabled in math, so we're very different people.
You got what do you got in math?
I'm actually like legitimately mentally disabled in math. I have a cognitive
Yeah,
disability in math.
she's like me.
I'm retarded like Roy, but I sound a little less drunk. That's all.
Well,
Yes.
I've learned over the years that I gotta dumb myself down like
Oh,
80%
me too.
on here. So just for people
Oh,
that
on
don't.
here, I just meant in real life. On here, it's like 99.8%.
If I start talking about some of the
But
stuff that I could talk
it's
about, people can't keep up.
feminine to be shitty with math and advanced in language. I mean,
I
that's
just
not uncommon.
I just avoid all that stuff, but I really like talking about like the psychology, psychiatry stuff because you know what? You know what? People on here definitely need it, dude. There are some damaged people on here for sure, but so it's a real issue.
Yes.
It's a real issue. Some of these people really need help, and what do you suggest for them?
They do need help, but that's not going to help them. I can promise you that. It's really not.
Well, here's my concern. I'm not even worried about what if that's going to help them. I just want to help them. So how do we help them? What are we supposed to do with these brain damaged
Mm,
retards?
can't do anything. They have to help themselves. What can you do with these people? They're extremely damaged, and they came here to sit around and be
And
toxic.
God said,
And they
love each
damage one
other.
another even more because miserable, toxic people who hang out with one another exacerbates the issue. It becomes really cyclical. It's not a good thing. Why I stopped hanging out here.
Yeah.
But then quarantine happened, so we're back to the fuckery, I guess. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't.
I see.
Me so many times, even before it was a thing, they used to do that to me.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed talking about this with you. This is fascinating. I really want to pick your brain more about this.
It's
Uh,
funny.
it's fat. I mean, I really am very curious what you think. You know.
What to do with these people?
Well, I want to. I mean, if you
I
have
think they
taken the
need
time.
and they need to eat healthy. But these are choices that are difficult to make for yourself when you're lost in,
Oops.
the drug addiction and insanity that many of Second Life is lost in. What do you do? How do you help that?
Yeah. What do you do? I mean, I've come across some people in here that I want to help. I
Hello, everybody. I come in peace.
Hi.
I come explosively. I don't know what you're talking about. After I'm done with my therapy sessions with my clients, and I ask them all their little dirty little secrets. When they leave my office, I close the door, I lock the door, and I just explode. So,
I bet they do. That's
Ah,
you probably
yeah.
got